as the lines between commercial and lifestyle vehicles get blurred even more. It's given birth to a whole new type of customer. This is the type of customer that would have never considered something like a pickup truck just to take their kids to school or go to the office. Ever since manufacturers started throwing in all this comfort and luxury in equal parts to the ruggedness and toughness of a pickup truck, it created this whole new space, like a hybrid or a super vehicle in some sort. Here's the ironic part. As our vehicles became smarter and capable of doing so much more, we as humans started to do so much less with them. These overqualified machines filling up our urban landscapes, that's not what they were born to do. Which is why we decided to go out and find a playground that was worthy of all the engineering that made these cars capable of going anywhere. Hi there, welcome to Drive. I'm James Deacon, and on today's episode, we've set out to tackle one of the most challenging and beautiful trails known to man and machine, because it takes an extreme 4x4 and good old-fashioned 2x2 to get to the center of the Earth. Or in this case, it's the crater here at the foothills of Mount Pinatubo, which is known for its beauty as much as its temper. Now, this is normally tackled by custom 4x4s, just like the one I got out of. But the trick here is we're gonna try and take a bone stock commercial vehicle right off the showroom floor just to see how far we can get. It's the Nissan Navara. Once enjoyed best-in-class status, was, well, had to share the limelight with a whole bunch of other superstars, like the Ford Ranger Wildtrak, Chevy Colorado, the Hilux, among other things. Does it still have what it takes to get us all the way there? Well, that's what we're here to find out as we explore Mount Pinatubo, one of the most beautiful and graceful places on Earth. Just don't piss her off. The Nissan Navara has always been an extremely capable vehicle. It only sort of lost a little bit of luster only because it had to share the stage or the limelight with a whole bunch of other superstars like the Ford Ranger Wildtrak, the Chevy Colorado, the Hilux, etc. But that shouldn't take anything away from this vehicle. What we're here to find out today is just how capable it is, because underneath all this luxurious skin, which all the manufacturers seem to be putting on their commercial vehicles as the line between lifestyle and hardcore commercial gets extremely blurred, we want to know if there's still that rugged vehicle underneath that can get us to the off-the-beaten-track areas, just like where we're headed over here, which is the crater of Mount Pinatubo. It's not for the faint-hearted. This is a serious 4x4 place. As you can see, normally we use custom 4x4s to get up here. The trail right now is pretty easy, so it's not the hardest core yet. But one thing that separates the Navara from every other pickup in its class right now is the suspension. It's the only one to use the coil suspension in the back. Yes, you feel the bumps, but they're really handled quite well. It gives you a car-like ride. Trade-off for that is if you do have to carry a lot of heavy loads in the back, well, you want to have a look at the payload capacity. There are other vehicles that will be able to take a lot more. But if you're just doing good 4x4 work, but you're not putting a full ton in the back, well, this is an exceptional balance in between the hardcore and also what you can live with every day. Remember, these vehicles are being now used to take your kids to school, to do the shopping runs, to go to the malls, and it basically has to do everything. So you have to have a vehicle that's easy to live with. And right now, this vehicle is about as easy to live with as you can get out here. You get all the creature comforts still. It's very impressive. Now, I owned the previous generation Navara, and I was already pretty impressed with that. At the time, it was class leading with 174 horsepower. Now it's been bumped up, but well, so did everyone else. So at 190, it's no longer top of its class, but it does have more than enough power to get you around and to carry its own weight. Well, this is about as extreme as it gets for a non-lifted, non-snorkel, bone stock vehicle. Wish me luck. This could get pretty ugly. Well, it is pretty extreme over here. No snorkel here. Oh, man. Oh, this is pretty deep. But you know what? While you may not actually do this every day in your Navara, there are situations, especially in the rainy season, where this could be a suburban road in Metro Manila. I think my heart went through a harder time than the car. Now that you clear sort of the water crossings or the shallow beds of water there, this is the first surface that you're going to get to if you're going to try and make your way to the crater, and you're going to get the lahar. Lahar would actually be one of my favorite places to drive, or surfaces to drive, because it doesn't feel quite as labored as sand. Sand tends to really suck out all the torque out of your car. I mean, you need to floor it, and you need to keep that momentum. Here, it's a combination between a little bit of gravel, a little bit of sand. It's got a nice texture, and that texture comes through the steering wheel. So you feel all the rocks and you feel everything underneath you. It just makes you feel so alive. It makes you feel like you're driving it the way God intended you to drive these things. Another thing you'll notice about the Navara, or at least I appreciate, is the steering. This is a really easy to live with steering system. It's very light, it's very easy to use. It's just as easy to drive as any sort of sedan out there. And right here, when you're having a little bit of fun, it doesn't lose the connection, even on these surfaces like this, where you normally need as much communication as possible. It still does a pretty awesome job of that.
This is so much fun! It's like having a massage for your car! Woohoo! Yeah, baby! It's sliding and slipping and so much fun! Ah, this is easy stuff. It looks hard, but the Navara is making light work of it. When there are no roads, you make your own roads. Yeah! Woohoo!
It's not exactly the most grueling trek that you can do in your four-wheel drive. No, it's not about that. It's about how it changes. And right now, we've gone from Lahar to this very rocky boulder type of situation. It takes a whole new skill or a whole new, well, approach to this kind of driving, because it's the way the vehicle articulates, approach angles like that, see? This is where it gets very, very tricky. And now I gotta back up a little bit. I'm gonna try it again, because it's just about the approach angle, so I have to, there you go. And you feel the four-wheel drive kicking in. So this is definitely not a two-wheel drive area. And there you go. The approach and departure angles are not bad, especially for a pickup. I was worried about the back there, but you know, the pickups tend to have a poor departure angle. When you say departure angle, you're talking about when the car comes down from like a little drop, if it hits the back of the bed. And then the approach angle is, of course, under the bumper. Like now we're gonna go up a very, very steep portion, and you don't want your bumper to hit it before your wheels do. That's the approach angle. And this is doing a pretty good job too. No problems so far. We had that one small issue, easy to get out of, but there you go. It's all about negotiating different terrain. The rocks here are pretty intense. It's almost like a balancing act of trying to get the vehicle sort of to crawl over the top of the rocks. If you don't position your car well, even the best of four-wheel drive systems are gonna have a hard time. But so far, so good as we negotiate our way here. It's a good thing that it's very rigid. It's got this 4-box ladder frame system, which provides a little bit more rigidity. And I was worried about the whole suspension at the back, because normally these pickups come with leaf springs, but this is doing a pretty good job. I haven't hit the limitations yet. It doesn't feel like it's anywhere close so far. And I've still got one more setting for four-wheel drive, which is the four-wheel low. We just tested the limits of the car, wanted to see how much water it can go through, but that was just practice. Now it's a real deal, because it is actually where we're going. We really have to go through some pretty deep water to get to our destination. So no more rehearsals. This is the real deal. Come on, guys, see if you can catch up. Now, the thing about river crossings or any type of water crossing, a lot of people think it's just about the wading depth. And while that is, of course, very important, you also need a lot of torque to back that up, because if you haven't got the power to barrel through the flood, and when I say barrel, you don't want to sort of create the bow effect. We do that for the camera because it looks awesome, but it really isn't the most efficient way to get through a flood. What's important is the deeper the water gets, the more pressure and the more power the car needs. And the power comes from the torque, not the horsepower. And this Navara has got quite a lot of torque, thankfully. It's got like a mountain there. It's built up like a wall of torque. So as soon as you need the power, it's coming through. And even when I get through these stages here, it's like running water. I'm trying to make it through this pretty tight area. Feeling I might just hit. No, I didn't. That's good. That's good. So I've got decent ground clearance, which is also something you look for in a vehicle like this. This is something you need both on or off the road, because like I said, we always have these problems with monsoon seasons where we get flooding at home. So even if you're not being adventurous and coming out here, it's still an advantage to have that ground clearance. Here the water is moving really fast. We've got a big current coming at us, but it's handling it beautifully. It's a little tricky. We have some soft spots here, and it did get a little bit tense at one point there. You don't want to be in two-wheel drive anymore here. See how much water is coming through. But this is really handling it quite well. Oh. We made it! Finally got here to the drop-off point here in Botolan, Zambales. This is the last stop to make the trek up. Now, it was a challenging trail, not the most difficult trail that I've ever done. It's probably not the most extreme that you'll ever do, but what makes it very interesting is the contrast and the change of landscape as you go along. You've got this really sort of soft lahar, and then you get to these sort of very tough type of boulders over there, and this is even a different setup. It feels different, and that's what you need, is something that can adapt to it. So not the hardest thing, but maybe the Navara just made it a little bit easier for us. It doesn't really matter anymore what kind of four-wheel drive you have. From this point, it's gonna be good old-fashioned 2x2. Let's go, boys! Wow, that was one hell of an experience. If you haven't been to Pinatubo yet, the crater, well, this is one that you have to put in your bucket list. It's just one of those treks that is just absolutely awe-inspiring. And it's a challenge for both man and machine. You see, you do it in equal parts. You have this beautiful drive, about an hour, hour and a half, depending on your pace, getting to the drop-off in Botolan, Zambales, and then it's about an hour and a half trek all the way to the crater. Now, this is something I could recommend for just about anyone. If you have a reasonable level of fitness, you'll be able to make it up. It's not hardcore. And also, for the driving part, even somebody without experience will have fun going out here. This is one of the wonders of the world, not officially, but really in the hearts of everyone who's been here. How could you not say it is? It's ironic that we'll spend thousands of pesos to travel thousands of miles just to see something a fraction as beautiful outside of our shores when we've got it all right here in our very own backyard. And of course, you got to give a shout out to vehicles like this. These are the things that get us out here. Too often we take these things for granted. We look at them when they're not in their natural habitat. We look at these cars when they're cramped in city spaces, urban dwellings where they're just causing a lot of headaches, and it leaves you frustrated, whereas they were really born to explore lands just like this, just like how we did it. So go out and treat your car to a nice adventure. Take it out where it was supposed to go. One of those magical experiences that I could try to put into words for you, but trying to actually put words around this, it's kind of like dancing to architecture. It doesn't make any sense. It's something you have to come over here and feel for yourself, and you take that away with you. I guarantee you, you'll be all the better for it, because once your mind has experienced something new, it'll never go back to its old dimensions. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about traveling and enjoying and seeing new things. So I hope we get to see you in one of our adventures here the next time we could be in your part of the world. Look out for us. So maybe you have a suggestion of where we should go. You can always drop me a line on my website, jamesdeacon.ph, or Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. No excuses. We're coming your way, whether you like it or not. Till then, my name's James Deacon. Drive safe, everyone.